Hey everyone, welcome to Anita's Joint, hashtag extendAJoint, where every day is payday, baby. It's your girl Anita flying high here, and we are reading Number Games 9/11 to Coronavirus by Zachary K. Hubbard. You can check him out on Gematria Effect News and Gematria Effect Sports. We are almost finished with the book. We're reading chapter 15 today. And I hope everyone's well. Happy full moon and happy shout out to the Soul Group. I was just off Esoteric Cloud Surface Live, feeling good. And as I was telling y'all in the broadcast with the NWSL, I would come back and read. Of course, we're almost done and we staying up. All right. Oh shit. Let me go ahead and share my screen. All right. Cool. We all good. Let me turn on this laptop right quick. Hold on. I wasn't all set up. Hold on, let me get there real quick. Give y'all some. Chapter 15. We are 1, 2, 3, 4. We are 4 chapters after chapter 15. We are 4 chapters. We're 4 chapters away, and then bam, we finished the book. I'm so proud of myself. Yeah. Hold on. Let me get into the other thing so I can see it real quick. Just a second. Like always, if you want to connect with your girl on, if you want to connect with me on the social medias, my Twitter and Instagram are Anita Flying High, of course. Okay, we're all good. We're all set. Okay, I got my other laptop up, and we're gonna start chapter 15. Let me get it over here. Okay, this one, chapter 15. Okay, let's go. Okay, so chapter 15, Super Bowl 54, the Kansas City Chiefs and coronavirus. 2020, the year of Super Bowl 51, was 54 years after the Church of Satan was founded in San Francisco. Having been established in 1966, the season of the first Super Bowl. I bring this up because San Francisco is the home of the 49ers, the team who lost to the Kansas City Chiefs in Super Bowl 54. And because I haven't checked out and and because I haven't checked on anyone's amnesia lately, as a reminder, Jesuit order equates to 54 in Pythagorean gematria, and sun equates to 54 with simple English. If you want to get more technical, in alchemy, the sun represents gold, and the San Francisco 49ers are named after the 1849 hey, 1849 gold rush. What's up, Dario? Hey. Yo, that's so crazy. Um, uh, it was so crazy. Oh, thank you. I will. Um, I haven't even read this chapter, but they're already talking about freaking gold, and esoteric was just talking about the gold, and we in the gold race. But thank you. I'm going to have a good reading session. Shout out and happy full moon to you as well. Happy full moon to everyone. Right. All right. Okay. For another 54, it was the name Joe Montana, equating with reverse Pythagorean, who went to Notre Dame, a Catholic school, and I bring up his name because Super Bowl 54 had much to do with Joe Montana. considered one of the greatest NFL quarterbacks ever. The connection to Super Bowl 54 and Joe Montana was created by the fact the two teams he played for in his NFL career, the 49ers and the Chiefs, were facing each other. It was an easy riddle to solve, largely because Montana wore the number 16 for the 49ers, who he won Super Bowl 16 with, and he wore number 19 for the Chiefs, who went on to win Super Bowl 54, concluding the 2019-20 season. Emphasize on 19. Never mind, Kansas City equates to 67, the 19 prime number. It was only fitting that the Super Bowl came 54 days after Joe Burrow's December 10th, 2019 birthday. Another Joe, who won the college football championship with the LSU Tigers, defeating the Clemson Tigers. And didn't we just read about the year of the tiger as well? Happy full moon. Oh yeah, I was like, I just changed it all up too, just like as I was on the live. I was like, oh, I got inspired. Oh, appreciate it. Happy full moon. Okay. Right. Defeating Tigers. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. We were talking about Tigers. It was only fitting them that the Super Bowl came 54 days after Joe Burrow's December 10th, 2019 birthday. Another Joe, who won the college football championship with the LSU Tigers, defeating the Clemson Tigers on January 13th, 2020, in the Battle of the Tigers, in a year that will become even more about Tigers with the hit show Tiger King, in a year where Joe Burrow would become the number one overall pick by the Cincinnati Bengals, who Joe Montana defeated twice in Super Bowl 16 and 23. Two numbers adding to 39, like the 39 Gematria value of Montana, Bengals, Tigers, and Masonry. Let us not forget the 2020 NFL Draft was the first ever draft where all the players being selected stayed at home because of coronavirus, as opposed to meeting in a large building and walking across the stage and shaking someone's hand, while fans either cheered or booed the selection. What typically occurs at the event. And getting back to 54, I should note LSU won the championship in their own backyard in New Orleans, equating to 54 with reverse Pythagorean on a 54-date numerology. January 13th, 2020, with reverse Pythagorean, and a 54 numerology, in the 54-date numerology. January 13, 2020. So 1/13/2020, 1 plus 13 plus 20 plus 20 equals 54. Okay. Adding to the list, Super Bowl 54 was played on February 2nd, 2020, a span of 54 days from Nancy Pelosi's March 26th birthday, the Speaker of the House in 2020, a Catholic who calls San Francisco home, the city named after San Francis of Assisi, the same as Pope Francis. The symbolism in this distance in days was observed through the riddle of the Kansas City commander and chiefs, defeating Pelosi's San Francisco 49ers 3 days before Donald Trump defeated the impeachment brought on by Pelosi on February 5th, 2020. A date that can be expressed, I guess you would say, a 2/5 like 25, and having 47 numerology. both numbers corresponding with the gematria of Trump and time. And never mind that Patrick Mahomes, the quarterback of the Chiefs, went to White House High School in Texas, or that the Super Bowl was 138 days after his September 17, 2019 birthday, corresponding with the simple English value of Donald Trump. To make a long story short, it was all a ritual, and even synced with the 2019 World Series, where the Washington Nationals won the championship on October 30th, 2019, precisely 138 days after Donald Trump's birthday, corresponding with the gematria of Nationals, Donald Trump, and Dave Martinez, the latter being the manager of the team, and each equating to 138. It was on the same day the impeachment process against Donald Trump was brought out from behind closed doors by Nancy Pelosi, a ritual we discussed earlier. It was one of many that are part of an ongoing circus of number games that bring together professionally rigged sports and professionally rigged politics, things that should be so obvious, especially after rituals such as September 11th, 2001, the Patriot Act, and the New England Patriots. Yet somehow so few see the obvious. As for how the Nationals would, and as for how the Nationals would, as for how the Nationals World Series and impeachment came together in numbers, impeachment and Washington Nationals both equate to 107 with our base ciphers. And for your list, baseball sums to 54 and baseball sums to 54 and two out of the four base ciphers with simple English and reverse Pythagorean. And if you don't already know, there are 54 outs in a complete baseball game, a game that is not as much about time as it is about counting. Regarding counting, the Nationals threw 159 pitches in Game 7, winning the 115th World Series, 138 days after Donald Trump's birthday, who won the election and took office with the 115th U.S. Congress. And while Donald Trump sums to 138 with simple English, his name sums to 159 with reverse simple, the latter value being the same as Scottish Rite. Okay. Adding insult to injury, on the same night, the Washington, D.C. baseball team, the Nationals, beat the Houston Astros with 159 pitches to win the World Series. The Washington, D.C. basketball team, the Wizards, lost in D.C. to the Houston Rockets with a score of 159 to 158. It was a thrilling comeback by the Rockets. If you're asking how these things can be so exact, the answer is technology and counting, old tricks of the magician. Adding to the riddle of the basketball game was that Mike D'Antoni, the coach of the Houston Rockets, earned his 631st regular season win in that game, the 115th prime number, corresponding with the 115th World Series. Okay. Better yet, using simple English, his name, Mike D'Antoni, sums to 115, proving that his entire multi-decade career was scripted up to that moment, and reminding us how sports announcers always repeat. You couldn't have scripted it any better. I repeat, they are not kidding. For years, for years we've been calling games and championships correctly, as well as news stories, long in advance, and showing how these types of riddles and patterns play out day after day, season after season, and year after year. Once you learn the code, you'll be amazed, but you'll also come to understanding the patterns are the most broken record there ever was. For one more 115th World Series, for one more on the 115th World Series, recall the number concerning the 32nd degree of the Scottish Rite and the Jesuits who established Georgetown in D.C. is 115 through their motto, Ad Amor del Gorellum, equating to 15 with reverse Pythagorean. I bring this up because the Nationals gave the Houston Astros their 57th postseason loss by winning Game 7, and in Gematria, Nationals, World Series, Dave Martinez, Scottish Rite, and Georgetown each equate to 57. A number that comes up with sports championships, college and pro, season after season. Okay. Case in point, Vanderbilt won the College World Series in June of 2019, just before the Nationals' big win, and their manager, Tim Corbin, was 57 years old at the time. This should remind you that George Washington, in the land of the Jesuits and Scottish Rites, Washington, D.C. became the first recognized president at age 57. And now Georgetown, equated to 57, was established in 1789, the year George Washington turned 57. For one last thought on the number, and with regards to all things being about time, moon sums to 57 with simple English. And as you know, the moon has a 19-year pattern with the Gregorian calendar, and 17 is divisible by 13 three times. At last, I'd be amiss if I didn't let you know Game 7 of the World Series was won by the Nationals 6-2, 6-2 October 30th, the day leaving 62 days left, by defeating the team from Houston, Texas, summoning to 62 with reverse Pythagorean. Keep in mind that the same MLB season began with the other team from Washington winning the first game of the year, the Seattle Mariners, summoning to 62 with Pythagorean. A game played in Japan where Ikuro, summoning to 62 with simple English, the longtime Japanese star of the Mariners. Okay. Would announce days later he was retiring. And for the record, we called it right then that the World Series would go to Game 7, the day leaving 62 days in the year, because year after year, it is these types of rituals, paying tributes to certain numbers, that spell out what's to come. If you want to keep going, the Mariners won the season opening game 9-7, and both Mariners and athletes summed to 97 with simple English. If you want to go even further, Oakland athletes sums to 97 with reverse Pythagorean. Even further, it was played on March 20th, 2019, the 79th day of the year, the reflection of 97. And to bring us back to where we started, the first two games of the 2019 MLB season, both played between the Mariners and the Athletics in Japan. And athletes. Athletics? Is that a fucking base? What the fuck? That's a baseball team? It looks like athletes. Let me see the difference in spelling because I'm getting confused right here. Hold on. Athletics. Oakland Athletics. Yeah, that's their name. That's kind of a weird name, but okay. Oh, it's just the E, athletes. Yeah, it's just the E. Okay. So the Oakland.
Here's the definition
Oh,
of
I
athlete.
didn't ask for
A
that.
person who is proficient in sports and other forms.
She started talking. My bad, y'all. The Oakland Athletics. Well, okay. Um, 57. We're on the 57. Mariners. Okay, if you go, okay, we're going to say if you want to go even further. All right, I'll say that again. If you want to go even further, Oath of Athletics sums to 97 with reverse Pythagorean. Even further, it was played on March 20th, 2019, the 79th day of the year. And to bring us back to where we started, the first two games of the 2019 MLB season were both played between the Mariners and and the Athletics in Japan, and the Mariners won the second game with the score of 5-4, a lot like 54, starting off their season 2-0, before eventually improving to 12-2 by beating Kansas City, summoning to 1-2 with simple English, the same as San Francisco, and reminding us that both Seattle and San Francisco are on the 122nd Meridian West, and that the Kansas City Chiefs would go on to beat the San Francisco 49ers in the Super Bowl 54, the 50th of the modern era, where the Chiefs would win the big game for the first time in 50 years, and where Chiefs sums to 50 with simple English, and San Francisco. Oh, okay. And Chiefs sums to 50 with simple English, and San Francisco, who hosted Super Bowl 50, sums to 50 with Pythagorean. And of course, this game came after the other beat Washington team. The Nationals won the World Series, where Washington equates to 50 with reverse Pythagorean, and America sums to 50 with simple English, the same as Donald, the man and president who was perfectly synced with both rituals. And for people who fears I'm only going after Trump, it wasn't an accident the Chicago Blackhawks became the cream of the NHL after Barry O accepted the presidency from Chicago. Okay. On the subject of U.S. presidents and rigged sports, I should also let you know how I called the outcome of the 115th World Series Nationals over Astros in Game 7 over a month in advance, based off what transpired on September 27th, 2019, the anniversary of the Jesuits being recognized by Roman Catholic Church, in a game between the Washington Nationals and the Cleveland Indians. The riddle had everything to do with Skull and Bones, and an old story about Prescott Bush, a Washington man, likes the Nationals, and the father of George H.W. Bush, who became a U.S. Senator years after stealing the skull of Gurnimio, Gurnimio from Yale's fraternity when he was a member. Oh my goodness. For starters, from the anniversary of the death of Gurnimio, Gurnimio, all right, from the anniversary of him, who passed on February 17th, 1909, to September 27th's game, the Nationals hosting the Cleveland Indians was a span of 223 days, the 48th prime number. Considering with the Gematria of Cleveland equating to 48 and, and making it easy to see that the Nationals would pick up their 48th home win in the September 27th game on the 48th day numerology, similar to how they would pick up their 49th and 50th home wins over the course of the next 2 days on 49 and 50 day numerology, also corresponding with the Gematria of Washington. Furthermore, the manager of the Nationals, Dave Martinez, was coaching his 322nd game on September 23rd, on September 27th, and he came in with 149 losses, corresponding with the simple English gematria of skull and bones, equating to 149, which is the 35th prime, corresponding with Catholic. Make sure where I'm at. All right. Okay. When I identified this ritual, it took me back to April 20th, 2019, a game between the Texas Rangers and Houston Astros, where I predicted the Rangers, who were severe underdogs, would beat the Astros and improve to 11-8 overall and 9-4 at home, which they did, winning the game 9-4. I knew this was going to transpire because George Herbert Walker Bush equates to 118 with Pythagorean gematria, and he had just died at 94. Before 94, November 30th, 2018, before the start of the MLB season. Plus he had history with the ownership of these. Plus he had history with the ownership of those two respective teams. Keep in mind the game was on the 105th day of the year, and precedent sums to 110. Also, for your learning, when you write out skull and bones, it equates to 41. And when you write out 41, it equates to 118. Similar to how ossuary equates to 118, and skull and bones gets their symbolism from an ossuary. With what the Knights Templar of the church would use to bury their head in the time of the Crusades. And let us not forget that HW was the 41st president. Thus, because the Nationals won in the skull and bones ritual and the Astros lost, the riddle was clear to see and very lucrative. And please keep in mind, I did not take the time to decode every single game in the 2019 MLB season, giving me the opportunity to unlock. Oh, hold on. He said, and please keep in mind, I did take the time to decode every single game in the 2019 MLB season, giving me the opportunity to unlock the riddle that I did, meaning the hard work eventually paid off, literally in a very big way. Damn. Every single game? That's a lot of games. They play a lot. Okay, I really could go on all day about presidents, sports, news, and more, but instead, I'll transition to the most important thing you need to know about Super Bowl 54, and that is that Andy Reid accomplished, and that is what Andy Reid accomplished, the coach of the Kansas City Chiefs, who earned his 222nd win in the NFL on the date written 2/2/2020, and precisely 222 weeks after the Kansas City Royals defeated the New York Mets in the 111th World Series on November 1st, 2015, a date written 11/1. Factoring in with the riddle linking to the Kansas City Chiefs and Kansas City Royals, it was reported on July 28, 2020, that Patrick Mahomes became a part owner of the Kansas City Royals, exactly 54 weeks after his September 17th, 2019 birthday, corresponding with the Gematria of Major League, equating to 54 for Pythagorean. Keep in mind, keep in mind 45. I hope I didn't say 54 the whole time. Keep in mind 45 is the ninth triangular number, and baseball is a game of 9 innings. Furthermore, the day Mahomes became a part owner of the Royals was also 177 days after Super Bowl 54, where the Jesuit order equates to 177, and Jesuit order alone equates to 54. It's just a reflection of 45. And continuing with the patterns of two, the Chiefs picked up their second Super Bowl win, and the 49ers earned their second Super Bowl loss. And what was the second ever Super Bowl played on the 33rd day of the year? The 222s, you see. Keep in mind, it was just before Super Bowl 54 was played, and Donald Trump appeared at the World Economic Forum, equating to 222 at his 222nd day of his age, gloating about his trade deal with China. At the same time, Wuhan coronavirus equates to 222 was being confirmed in the United States. And in light of Kansas City Royals beating the New York Mets in the 111th World Series, 222 weeks before the Chiefs' Super Bowl 54 win, let us not forget that from the attacks on New York on September 11, 2001, the day leaving 111 days in the year, to the coronavirus pandemic, declared March 11, 2020, was 222 months later. I should note February 2nd sums to 222 with reverse simple English, the date of Super Bowl 54. And Andy Reid's 222nd win, and yes, it truly is one interrelated ritual, all one interrelated ritual, and it's a form of spell casting. As we learned, 2 is a number that can be used to symbolize division and taken apart, and that is what 2020 has much, and that is what 2020 has much about, was much about, in terms of controller's agenda. I guess if everybody's coming home. Yes, 2020 was so much division. I was divided. Oh. Okay. Okay. Let's read that again. All right. As we learned, 2 is a number that can be used to symbolize division and taking apart. And that is what 2020 was much about in terms of the coronavirus, in terms of the controllers' agenda. The same controllers who own the sports teams and leagues of the world that are used symbolically year after year in rituals such as these. For one more point, Andy Reid, Super Bowl 54 was his 122nd game, coach with the Kansas City Chiefs, as we covered earlier. Both Kansas City and San Francisco sum to 122 with simple English, whereas Satanic sums to 122 with reverse simple English. Of the 122 games, Andy Reid had coached 112 in the regular season and 10 in the playoffs, with the 10th being the Super Bowl 54. Keep in mind, Satan sums to 10 with Pythagorean, and regarding the 112 regular season games, Chiefs sums to 112 with reverse simple English, the same as Super Bowl. Let us not forget the 112 countries the Jesuits operate in, or the 112 connection to catechism. Catechism. All right. Since we brought up the 111th World Series, we might as well revisit the ritual that all but ended the championship series on November 1st or 11/1 because it further proves how scripted games are. To take you back in time, Eric Hausmeyer stepped up to the plate in the top of the ninth inning, and the stat was displayed on the screen that Hausmeyer had a .111 batting average for the 111th World Series, fitting on Matt Harvey's 111th pitch of the game. Hausmeyer nailed a line drive in the gap, diving in a run and giving the Royals their first score of the game. Matt Harvey was then pulled with the 111th pitch. Was then pulled with 111 pitches on 11/1 in the 111th World Series. From there, the Royals would go on and win the game 7-2, and fitting Royals sums to 72. As you will learn, it is the same types of obvious rituals that take place season after season in all of professional sports, and before long, you will be calling the outcomes of the games before they happen. Just as I called the Mets to be the 111th World Series in spring training of that season, reminding that Matt Damon's line from the film The Informant, he explains that the obvious math he explains where he explains the obvious math behind the World Series being rigged before spring training begins, which marks the start of the baseball season. Also important, Dave Henderson, a former star of the New York Mets, died at age 57, exactly 57 days after the World Series concluded, passing away on December 27th, 2015. As we have just learned, World Series sums to 57, and in this case, so do Mets and New York Mets. I'll be right back, y'all. That's the bathroom break. Okay. Okay, so we're on back on the subject. Back on the subject of 54, another ritual worth recognizing is how Patrick Mahomes, the quarterback of the Kansas City Chiefs, became the 33rd quarterback to win a Super Bowl. It's in only the second ever played on the 33rd day of the year. This is fitting because the name Patrick sums to 33 with Pythagorean Gematria. Furthermore, his full name, Patrick Levon Mahomes II, sums to 333 with reverse simple. And February 2nd, 2020, fell in a leap year, meaning there were 333 days left in a year on that date as well. For another three, he became the third quarterback to win a Super Bowl. Oh, excuse me. For another three, he became the third black quarterback to win a Super Bowl. The first was Doug Williams with the Washington Redskins, who won Super Bowl 22 with a score of 42-10. The second was Russell Wilson, who won Super Bowl 48, 38, 30. The second was Russell Wilson, who won Super Bowl 48, 43-8, the only other Super Bowl played on the 33rd day of the year, which brings these rituals together is the number 4. Okay, what brings these rituals together is the number 42, where Doug Williams scored 42 points after throwing 4 touchdowns in the second quarter. And then Russell Wilson, representing the 42nd state, Washington, brought the championship home to Seattle. Adding to the pattern, Patrick Mahomes won the big game after throwing exactly 42 passes, a number coded all over black history. As you might be aware, Jackie Robinson wore the number 42 and is credited with breaking the color barrier in MLB in the years 1947. Not by chance, the name Jackie sums to 42, and so do many words pertaining to Black history. Starting with February, the month that is referred to as Black History Month, adding to the list slavery, Tuskegee, nigger, brothers, bus, Martin, Malcolm X, Muhammad Ali, Huxtable, Cosby Show, LeBron James, and more. The next time you watch the sitcom Martin, you won't miss that he lives in apartment 42. If you want to rewind the clock, Jackie Robinson wasn't actually the first black baseball player in a white major league. It was Moses Walker, summoning to 42 with Pythagorean Gematria, who played in exactly 42 games. For another recent example, look no further than Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder fight on February 22nd, 2020, or 2/22/2002. In that fight in Black History Month, the white fighter Tyson Fury defeated the black fighter Deontay Wilder in what looked like a fight where Deontay was told to lie down. Of course, the fight was easy to call in advance because Wilder came in with 42 wins and Tyson sums to 42, the name of his opponent, reminding us of the 42-1 fight where Buster Douglas beat Mike Tyson on February 11, 1990, the 42nd day of the year, 30 years earlier. And the 30 years earlier mention matter too, because all these words sum to 30 and 42. They are slavery, Tuskegee, and nigger. In these cases, the name Dayton sums to 30 with Pythagorean as well. And it was crystal clear that Tyson Fury would be picking up his 30th win as a white man, beating a black man in Black History Month. Again, leaving Wilder on 42 career wins. Sure enough, he did. For one more 42 in for one more 42 in February of 2021, the 56th and final themed American. Okay, hold on. For one more 42 in February of 2021, the 56th and final themed America the Beautiful Quarter is being released. And it is a tribute to the Tuskegee Airmen. It shows two planes, one with a 4 and the other with a 2. The math is simple on that one. Goodness gracious. And that makes me wonder why, because, I watch interview. So Olivia Montero, she's like the first girl to be that age, and she wears the number 42. I'm like, what are they doing with her? They're doing something with her. They did a ritual with her. That's for sure. And she plays for the best team right now. They did a hella ritual. I don't know what kind of ritual they did with her, but they did one with her. I gotta do the numbers behind her, because of course we know that they choose these jersey numbers for a reason. It's not just, I just want to be number 42. Nah, get the fuck out of here. All right. In addition, all right, here you go. So we're gonna learn some. In addition to the number 42, the second parallel between the three black quarterbacks winning Super Bowl. Oh, in addition to this number 42, the second parallel between the three black quarterbacks winning Super Bowls with the Redskins, Seahawks, and Chiefs is that they're the only three teams in the NFL with clear Native American symbolism. The Redskins and Chiefs don't need explanations, but the Seahawks might. If you're not aware, Seattle is named after Chief Seattle, a Native American. And the Seattle Seahawks logo comes from the local Kawaka. Oh my, let me put some respect on their name. Let me see if I can, the local let me see. It's hard to pronounce this name. Kawaka, let me see, where is it at? KWA. Okay.
Put it all together, you have Kwakwakiwak.
Kawakalaka. That was, okay, that tribe. Okay. Thus, it appears the controllers on the NFL are trying to tell us something about Native American history, and perhaps they were attempting to say is long before African slaves arrived here, there were already Africans who had likely come to the continent in advance and would very possibly buy their own ships that they had constructed and sailed with, since Africa was a very advanced continent from a time in history that is nearly all but forgotten outside the pyramids. And let us not forget ancient Egypt and the 42 laws of Mayat, which, with this in mind, consider Native Americans some 64 with Pythagorean Gematria, the same as Kansas City Chiefs, and the day the Super Bowl 54 was precisely 64 weeks after Patrick Mahomes beat Lynn Dawson 1964 Kansas City Chiefs touchdown passing record. That accomplishment occurred November 11, 2018, and it should be noted that at the same time Mahomes beat Dawson, At the same time, Mahomes beat Dawson's record. Mahomes' girlfriend was watching in the stands next to her father, who dropped dead at the game. What? What? Oh my goodness. Of course, the word kill has gematria of 64. And on the subject of the number, Doug Williams would Doug Williams had turned 64 years on. And on the subject of 64, Doug Williams had turned 64 years of age, August 9, 2019, 177 days before Super Bowl 54. Let me say this again. Okay, so this is crazy. I need to read this again. That accomplishment, we're talking about Patrick Mahomes beat Lynn Dawson 1964 Kansas City Chiefs touchdown passing record. That accomplishment occurred November 11, 2018. And it should be noted that the same day Mahomes beat Dawson's record, Mahomes' girlfriend was watching in the stands next to her father, who dropped dead at the game. Of course, the word kill has gematria of 64. And on the subject of the number, Doug Williams had turned 64 years of age, August 9th, 2019, 177 days before Super Bowl 54. The latter number being connected to the Jesuit order. For one more fact about 64, the Chiefs have now played in 3 Super Bowls, losing Super Bowl I by a score of 10-35, winning Super Bowl, these Roman numerals. What is that, 16? By the score of 23-7. I don't know what other Super Bowl number that is, but they won 31-20. Because I don't be reading these numerals. You know what I'm saying? Sorry, not sorry. If you add it up, the Chiefs have scored 64 points in Super Bowls, and 62 scored against them. Not by chance, if you write out 49ers, not by chance, if you write out 49ers, the name of their last opponent in Pythagorean Gematria, if you write out the name 49ers, the name of their last opponent, it has a Pythagorean Gematria of 64 and reverse Pythagorean of 62. For a bit more gematria fun, 49ers sums to 163 with simple English, which is the 38th prime number, corresponding with the simple value of gold, reminding us that the 49ers hosted the golden anniversary of the Super Bowl 50 and February 2nd, 2000. To remind us that the 49ers hosted the golden anniversary of the Super Bowl 50 on February 7th, 2016, the 38th day of the year, only for it to be won by the 38th state, Chicago, equating to 38 with Pythagorean Gematria, who defeated the Panthers, summoning to 38 in the same cipher. It also reminds us that it was the 38th president, Gerald Ford, who ended FDR's orders, effectively allowing Americans to buy gold again legally. With regards, okay. Something happened over here. Come on. Okay. With regards to the Chiefs' most recent score in Super Bowl 54, winning 31-20. There must have been something else about this. Number 20 for the Chiefs, Morris Clarenborn, was reported to be having Super Bowl 54 blues before not long, not before, because, shit. Number 20 for the Chiefs, Morrison Claiborne, was reported to be having Super Bowl 54 blues because not long before, his brother had unexpectedly died at age 31 on January 5th, 2020. Thus, 21, thus 31 and 20, a sum of 51, and his brother had died on the date that can be written 5/1. Keep in mind, death sums to 20 in Pythagorean gematria, and that Morris Claiborne played his college football for the LSU Tigers, summoning to 113 with Simple English, who won the college championship over the Clemson Tigers 8 days later, January 13th, or 1/13. The distance of 8 days matters as well because 19 is the eighth prime, and the football championships at the start of 2020 for college and pro were for the 2019 season, emphasizing the 19. My bad, that was. Regarding the 2020 college football championship, if you watched the game, you might have caught the announcer's numerology lesson, as he put it, while accusing the people of New Orleans of being into those things, meaning numerology, in the fourth quarter. When LSU had all but won the game, the lesson was on the number 20 in regards of the death of Billy Cannon on May 20th, 2018. If you missed it, the announcer first pointed out in 1959 Billy Cannon, summoning to 59, the same as LSU Tigers, and even Tiger alone, won the Heisman with LSU and defeated Clemson in the college championship that was played in New Orleans. Very similar to how in 2020, George Burrow of LSU became the second player from the school to win the Heisman, the highest honors in all of college football, and to defeat Clemson in the championship in New Orleans. Beyond that, the announcer pointed out with 10 to play in 2020, I guess 10 minutes on the clock, to play in 2020, how Billy Cannon wore the number 20, and how history was repeating itself about 60 years later, which is divisible by 20 in 2020, when he had just died in recent history at the age 80, another number divisible by 20 on May 2018. Keep in mind, if you were watching or listening, the first down markers was set at 20-yard line during the numerology lesson, and the camera crew went. Speaking of, I'm on page 222 on my on the book, which is funny too. Anyways, keep in mind, if you're watching and listening, the first down marker was set at the 20-yard line during the numerology lesson, and the camera crew went to the angle that captured Joe Burrow with the orange sign in the background next to his head with the number 20 on it. The only thing the announcer forgot to tell the audience was that Joe Burrow had transferred from Ohio State to LSU on May 20th, 2018, the same day Billy Cannon died, and that in gematria terms, LSU equates to 20 with reverse Pythagorean, whereas death and time equate to 20 with Pythagorean. Personally, I was so provoked by this incident, I traveled to LSU campus in January of 2020 to educate the students of LSU about this. And as we'll get to it, it was a beautiful thing that I'll discuss more in the last chapter. I'm still shook over the fact that the dad died at the game. That's crazy, yo. All right. Coming back to the ritual of Super Bowl 54 on July 3rd, 2020, the last days before the United States' 244th birthday, it was reported that the Washington Redskins and the Cleveland Indians were thinking about changing their names in the wake of Black Lives Matter protests and the extra attention brought to racism with them. Oh, excuse me. And the extra attention brought to racism, with them. Since the United States of America was technically still 243 years old on this date, it is worth nothing that Native American sums to 247 with reverse simple English. This wasn't the first time the two teams from the NFL and MLB were used in such rituals either. For another example, on Christopher Columbus Day, October 8, 2018, a date with 56 numerology, the Saints wasted the Redskins on Monday Night Football, 43-19. And in MLB, the Indians and the Braves, the two teams with native symbolism, were eliminated from the postseason the same day. In addition to these teams all losing on the same day, to remember Columbus, the man who was paid for by the Catholic Church to voyage the world and who was falsely credited with discovering of America. Let's read that again. In addition to all these native teams all losing on the day to remember Columbus, the man who was paid for by the Catholic Church to voyage the world and who was falsely credited with the discovery of America, a land where people lived long before he arrived, they were all shamed by the numbers as well. Consider the Braves' loss to the Dodgers 6-2, going with the 62 points scored on the Monday Night Football game, corresponding with the simple English gematria of genocide, summoning to 62. And the Indians were creamed by the Astros 11-3, the team who had won the 113th World Series over the Dodgers a year earlier. That was the one given away by Matt Harvey, being the first pitcher to pitch in Houston after the flooding of Hurricane and Tropical Storm Harvey, 52 days before the start of the World Series, where flood and hurricane both equate to 52. It is to say it is all number games. And that is why A.J. Hinch, the manager of the Houston Astros, who won the 113th World Series, was fired on January 13th, or 1/13, and the following day, January 14th, or 1/14, Alex Cora, who won the 114 World Series, met the same fate because he was part of the cheating Houston Astros team from the prior year. And please realize there is no cheating when it comes to all these games. Oh shit! Yes, and please realize there is no cheating when all these games are 100% and undeniably fixed. Real shit. That's why. Fuck the Patriots. Excuse me. I'm just happy the team that I quote unquote support, the New York Giants, beat the Patriots every time they played in the Super Bowl. So thank you for that scripting, because you know what I'm saying. I may have to wait until fucking Texas gets flooded again for Houston Dash to win something. But in the meantime, hopefully that doesn't happen. But I'm just saying. I feel like that's the only reason why that happened. Uh, and then they gave it to they gave their money to the Houston Dash because it was like a charity event. And they got like 20K. Funny. And they gave it to the quote unquote the black organization, the NCAAP, something like that, for black people. Very interesting where they could give their money to. Anyways, it should also be noted that the potential name change news for the Redskins and Indians came on July 3rd, a date that can be expressed as 7/3, like 7-3. And Doug Williams, the first black quarterback to win a Super Bowl, and Doug Williams, the first black quarterback to win a Super Bowl, was who accomplished this with the Redskins, has a full name, Douglas Lee Williamson, equating to 73 with Pythagorean. Furthermore, the date July 3rd can be expressed as 3/7, like 37, and the announcement came 37 days before Doug Williams' August 9th birthday, corresponding with the Gematria of native, equating to 37, the same as Zachary, the Louisiana town where he was raised, reminding us what state won the college championship to begin 2020. Adding insult to injury, July 3rd leaves 181 days left in the year. The 42nd prime number brings us back to square one, and with that fact in mind, they are debating changing the name to the Washington Red Tails in tribute of the Tuskegee Airmen, while it seems nice, it is truly sick. And if it eventually happens, expect another book about it, because I have a lot more to say on that subject matter. For the time being, as of July 23rd, 2020, they have changed the name to Washington Football Team, where the new nickname equates to 1-2-2, the same as National Football League, as well as Kansas City and San Francisco, who just faced each other in Super Bowl 54. Adding to the ritual, Redskins, the old name equates to 54, and the temporary name change came 172 days after Super Bowl 54, where 172 corresponds with the Jesuit motto, Ada Morena del Gora, for the greater glory of God. I think that's what it stands for, or something like that. A motto also summoning to 100 with Pythagorean, reminding us that Super Bowl 54 concluded the 100th NFL season. For one last ritual, on July 6, 2020, a few days after the Redskins and Indians' potential name change announcements, Patrick Mahomes signed a new contract worth nearly over $400 million, replacing Russell Wilson, the Seattle Seahawks, as the highest paid player in the National Football League. Not by chance, the date July 6 can be expressed as 7/6, reminding of Acts 7:6 and the prophecy of the people being mistreated as slaves for 400 years in a foreign land, time in with the 400 million headlines. Of course, August 20th, 2019 marked 400 years since slaves arrived in America, and the 100th NFL season that Mahomes won began days later. It was for this reason ESPN called the 100th NFL season that concluded with the Chiefs championship the year of the black quarterback. This prediction by the 54th network, and if this prediction by the 54th network ESPN was made prior to the season beginning. Oh shit! This NFL this prediction by the 54th network ESPN was made prior to the season beginning and prior to Kyler Murray, a rookie black quarterback, winning the NFL's Rookie Offensive Player of the Year award, and Lamar Jackson, a black quarterback, winning league MVP, and Patrick Mahomes, a black quarterback, winning Super Bowl MVP. Keep in mind, African American sums to 100 with reverse Pythagorean, coinciding with the 100th NFL season. Furthermore, it sums to 71 with Pythagorean, the 20th prime. And all these awards were given at the start of 2020, including the top honors to Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes on the second day on the first and second day of Black History Month, respectively. For another riddle, this $400 million contract came 5 months and 4 days after Super Bowl 54, a game that was played on February 2nd. The signing of the contract also came 293 days after Patrick Mahomes' September 17, 2019 birthday, which is the 62nd prime number. And Pythagorean Gematria. And with Pythagorean Gematria, Patrick Mahomes sums to 62, same as 400. And similar to 49ers, also equates to 62, and reminding us that the Chiefs have allowed 62 points to be scored against them in the Super Bowl, after holding the 49ers to 20 points in the 2020 Super Bowl, meaning that the Chiefs have allowed 42 points coming into the game. As you have learned, genocide sums to 62, and there is symbolism with that to think about in the light of the native team having that many points scored against them in Super Bowls. To start 2020, the year of the deadly virus, but not as deadly as smallpox that wiped out Native Americans. Back on the subject of the contract, it also came on the date that can be expressed 6/7, like 67, and Kansas City equates to 67 with reverse Pythagorean. Furthermore, July 6th is the 187th day of the Gregorian year, and Society of Jesus sums to 187, reminding us who is in charge of these rituals. With the Jesuit in mind, Super Bowl 54 was won by Patrick Mahomes 177 days after Doug Williams' 64th birthday, and Jesuit order equates to 177, reminding us that Jesuit order equates to 54, just like Joe Montana, the good Catholic, who won Super Bowl 54, was a tribute to, coming a span of 131 days from his 64th birthday on June 11, 2020, having been born in 56. For the record, both championship and Super Bowl equate to 131 with simple English, which is the 32nd prime number, reminding us that the NFL has 32 teams, and NFL, America, and Scottish each equate to 32, matching the number of sun rays on the Jesuit logo. To add to your list, both Kansas City and Chief sum to 32 with Pythagorean. And never forget 7/14, 1776 equals 32 as well. Okay. Of course, America began with a genocide of the Native Americans that was purposely done by spreading a virus. That virus was smallpox, equating to 104, the same as Roman Catholic Church. and reminding us that the July 4th, of Independence Day, 1776, also has a numerology path of 104 as follows: 7 plus 4 plus 17 plus 76 equals 104. In light of the significance of the 104 to smallpox, it was for this reason the Supreme Court revisited Jacobson versus Massachusetts, a 1905 ruling on vaccinations in the time of smallpox. April 10, 2020 emphasized on 10/4 like 104. Thus, the symbolism is clear. In the year of a purposeful spread virus, COVID-19 that has changed the continent of North America, just as the genocide of the natives once did. It was only fitting to have the Kansas City Chiefs win the Super Bowl in the massive 222 ritual, syncing with Wuhan coronavirus and the Jesuit motto, order out of chaos. Furthermore, it was in 1798, 222 years prior to 2020, that Edward Jenner demonstrated the inculcation of humans with a live vaccinia virus or cowpox could protect against smallpox. And keep in mind, Wuhan alone equates to 67, the same as Kansas City, and the July 6 contract, or 6/7, was completed 155 days after Super Bowl 54, corresponding with the simple English gematria of coronavirus, 155. And for one last familiar number, it was signed on a 33-date numerology, 7/620. 7 plus 6 equals 20 equals 33. The 33rd day numerology. Only fitting for Patrick, equating to 33, the man who became the 33rd quarterback to win Super Bowl, who did it on the 33rd day of the year, February 2nd, 2020, leaving 333 days left in the year, are again corresponding with the gematria of Patrick Lavon Mahomes II, summoning to 333, who surpassed Russell Wilson as the highest paid player, a man who was born November 29th, the 333rd day of the year. As a reminder, Russell Wilson is the only other player to win Super Bowl on the 33rd day of the year, to date. And what's funny about that is Indian sums to 33 with Pythagorean gematria, the term often associated with Native Americans due to the false history we've been taught. For another joke, it was reported on July 24th or 24/7 that Russell Wilson and Sierra had just given birth to a boy. When, as you know, Seattle, Washington equates to 247, and 2020 marked the 247-year anniversary of the banning of the Jesuits. And Russell Wilson equals 54 as well. Funny. Wow. That is the end of chapter 17. Chapter 17. Chapter 15, as you can see the title, Kobe Bryant's Burial. Oh my goodness. Well, that ends that chapter. I thank everyone for tuning in again. What else do we say? I'm really gonna focus on studying gematria so I can see if I can call the euros correctly based upon the numbers. The 2022 England euros, right? The London euros. So I'm gonna really focus and see if I can get these numbers correct. see if we can predict who would win before the tournament. And we'll see based upon what headlines they produce. But yeah, everyone, as you can see, the rituals are so heavy, especially in the realm of sports, especially in the realm that we are into. If you're into sports like me, shout out to the Houston Dash, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, I'm going to continue to talk my mess, continue to give y'all the truth. We can continue to enjoy, but just know we're not going to get butthurt when some fuckery happens. This is what they do until more people wake up to it, really, right? Until more people wake up to it, that it's all scripted. Don't get mad at people for knowing the truth. Especially when they didn't know and now they became aware. It's not our fault. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and head out. Thank you, everyone that is watching the replay and that watched me live. Shout out to the Soul Group. Happy full moon to everyone. Hope y'all stay up, stay well. And I'll catch you on the next one, all right? Deuces.